Hi, I'm Charles with Anycap. This is my recap for the anime The Witch and the Beast. If you like my recaps, please consider subscribing. The story begins as some coffin-carrying dude named Ashif and a girl named Giddy get off a train. These two emos are looking for a certain witch and ask the first girl they see if she is one or if she has seen one. Giddy is seriously impatient, so Ashif apologizes for her behavior and explains that she just can't contain her excitement when it comes to witches. He reveals that they don't actually know what the witch they are looking for looks like, but they are lucky to have found someone who knows a witch. This strange girl is named Mary, and she reveals that it wasn't luck at all, as she is not the only one who knows Lady Witch. In fact, everyone in the city knows the witch, and it shouldn't be long before they find her. Just then, all the glass windows shatter around them, and they find a giant monster outside. This giant street shark crushes a bunch of dumb cops that were trying to shoot at it, and our two emos determine that a really powerful mage must be behind it. Giddy thinks it's a witch that has finally revealed herself, but the strange girl from earlier tells them that they are wrong. The person behind the attack is not the person they are looking for. Down on the street, the person referred to as Lady Witch powers up a spell and launches it right at the muscled up street shark. The tiny little attack explodes inside of the shark monster, revealing the person that was inside. This man is arrested and Lady Witch is celebrated as the city's savior. She is the city's hero, but Ashif is surprised since she is a witch. He also points out that the weird girl seems way too happy about the witch's celebrity status, so she reveals that she is Lady Witch's apprentice. Mary runs off to prepare an introduction for the emos, and Ashif is glad that they didn't waste any time at all in finding the witch. He reminds Giddy that their mission is their #1 priority. He warns her against acting on impulse, but he's shocked to find that she is long gone. Mary greets the witch named Lone and expresses her excitement for the big night they have ahead of them. The shark guy is furious as he wonders how everyone could just forget what the witches had done before and calls them all crazy for treating her like a hero now. Just then, Giddy appears out of nowhere to attack the one she calls a filthy witch, but Lone blocks her and uses magic to tie her up. Giddy uses some pretty foul language to point out that she is certain that Lone remembers her, but Lone says she isn't sure about what she's talking about. Giddy has no clue how Lone convinced everyone that she is the hero and explains that witches bring only disaster and misfortune. Just then, a bunch of crows push the police back, and Ashif appears out of nowhere. He exclaims that things always end up this way, and he wishes Giddy would just stay back and leave things to him. Mary is of course upset, and Ashif explains that this was all a misunderstanding. The crowd gets restless as they begin to throw things at our protagonists and demand that they be arrested. Ashif uses some kind of dark magic to get him out of there, but Giddy doesn't want to leave as their target is right in front of them. Ashif apologizes to the two ladies and teleports them away anyway. We then learn that 400 years ago, a wicked witch cast a curse on the city, turning it into a doomland consumed by hellfire. However, the witch was defeated and the curse was sealed. Ashif and Giddy then arrive at the castle where the curse is said to be sealed. It's also the current residence of Lone, but that's all just based off a pamphlet he bought at a gift shop. To Giddy, all witches are evil, but this witch they are dealing with now has made a good reputation for herself. A group of ladies arrive and explain that they are there for a party to celebrate some kind of anniversary. Before they can explain what kind of anniversary, Mary welcomes them inside. She is shocked to see the two goth kids and refuses to let bad people like them inside. Giddy points out that all witches are crazy and she can't understand why Mary is defending one. Mary explains that in the past, the city treated witches terribly because of the wicked witch. Lone hated this fact and worked hard to help the city. She protected the city from disasters and evildoers using magic. She saved many people in the process, including Mary. After years of trying, Lone's efforts were rewarded and discrimination against witches in the city ended. That is why Mary refuses to let anyone that hates witches near Lone. Ashif warns her against believing everything she hears and reveals that there is something questionable about the sealed hellfire that is supposedly a witch's curse. He explains that a witch's curse is never something that can just be sealed, so if something is sealed there, then it's definitely something other than a curse. Ashif didn't expect Mary to believe him, but he asks her not to put too much trust in the witch either. He explains that witches always come with two things, secrets and danger. Mary has had enough of listening to the emo and demands that they leave, but Ashif would just like to know what they are celebrating. Mary is clearly pretty dumb though, as she explains that she has no clue, and Lone is the only one who knows. Giddy is ready to break in, but Ashif just learned about something he wants to study more. He hopes it's nothing, but it's unlikely considering they're dealing with a witch. In the castle, all the witch's guests are amazed by the setup, and Mary explains that she just turned away the jerks that were talking about Lone like she was evil. Elsewhere, while Giddy stuffs her face, Asif uncovers the terrifying true history buried in the past. It has to do with the place the fire was sealed and this exact date. Asif is upset since he wanted to handle this situation in a civilized way, but there is no hope for that now. Asif declares that he will let Giddy go through with her mission, so she gets so excited she eats a butter knife. As they leave their hotel, some police try to stop them on Lady Witch's orders. It's clear that these guys are just under her control, and it proves that Lone is evil. Asif uses his tattoo magic thing, and crows cause chaos. Outside, they find that their wanted level is almost at 5 stars, as several cops are waiting for them. Giddy is furious at Lone and vows to punch her right in her stupid face when she sees her. Back at the castle, things have taken a really bad turn for Mary, as she wakes up to find that her hands and feet are missing. All the other guests are doing just as bad, but the witch tells her not to be afraid since they're all just becoming keys for her. She snuck a spell into their bodies during training, and they will now be keys to release the hellfire that sleeps in the city. Lone then shocks the handless girl by revealing that the wicked witch was her grandmother. Her grandmother actually wasn't wicked at all, as she was the one that sealed the fire and saved the city. The true cause of the fire remains a mystery. However, witches were always getting blamed for disasters, and her grandmother was executed because of it. Lone has endured countless attacks on her life as well, so she doesn't plan on forgiving any of it. Mary begs her to stop, but Lone reveals that this day is too special to let pass. Exactly 417 years ago, the seal was put in place, and this day is the one day when its power awakens. Just then, one of the human keys opens the first lock. Just this one lock causes a massive fire to break out in the city. Lone celebrates this amazing day, but Giddy arrives to break up the party. Unfortunately, Lone stops her easily. Giddy tries once more, but Lone uses her immense power to push her back. Lone is shocked that someone as powerless as Giddy would even try to attack her. Lone is no fool though, and already knows that Giddy was just serving as a distraction. She unleashes an attack on the sneaky Asif, but he blocks it just as he finished up putting up a barrier around all the girls. Lone is amazed that he caught onto her plan and wonders just who this guy is. Asif plays it real cool though and explains that everyone has something to hide. That is especially true when speaking to witches, as he points out that people should never open their hearts to a witch. She calls this prejudice and points out that prejudice is what caused this problem in the first place. Her grandmother was burned at the stake because of it, so she is just trying to make things right. Mary tries to talk some sense into Lone and points out that all the people that wronged her grandmother are gone. All the people in the city now love Lone. Lone explains that their love only came because she was using them to build the groundwork for her plan. Gaining their trust made breaking the seal far easier. Lone then shows how seriously evil she is, as she explains that getting revenge on someone whose face you can't see is like getting revenge on an ant. Making friends with all the citizens now allows her to appreciate them as the targets of her revenge. The result now is that their suffering gives her great satisfaction. Asif tries to stop her from unlocking more of the seal, but Lone holds him back. Giddy reveals that she isn't done just yet and proclaims that she hates witches just as much as Lone hates humans. Giddy then demands to know if Lone remembers her or the mark on her neck. Lone laughs and realizes now that Giddy wants to undo a witch's curse. However, a witch's curse is incredibly difficult to remove. There are only 2 ways to undo one. First, a loving kiss from a Prince Charming, meaning a heartfelt kiss from one's partner in pure mutual love. Second is getting the witch who cursed the person to undo it. Unfortunately, Lone explains that she is not the witch Giddy is looking for, so she cannot undo her curse. Lone lights her up with flames and tells her that she just wasted her time since she has no information on the witch she was mistaking her for. Just then, Asif reveals that Lone has made one crucial error. She doesn't have to be the witch who cast the curse to lift it. Giddy emerges from the flames to approach Lone, but Lone instantly pierces her body with an attack. Giddy shockingly smiles, however, and plants a kiss right on the witch. Asif reveals a third way to remove a curse, and that is to kiss a witch. Darkness flows out of Giddy's body and right into the coffin Asif always carries. Lone has no clue what is happening and is stunned when a beast begins to emerge from the coffin. Lone feels its menacing aura, but can't understand how she doesn't sense any powerful magic. She wonders if this is Giddy's true self, and Asif hopes that Giddy isn't too rusty. Realizing the danger, Lone fires an attack, but Monster Giddy is completely unharmed. The witch tries an even more powerful attack, but Giddy once again is unscathed. Lone reaches into her bag of tricks to unleash her most powerful spell, and Mary wonders why Asif isn't helping in the fight. Asif reveals that he is merely a first-rate mage, and he would be of no help at all in this battle. That isn't a problem though, as his help is not needed one bit. This is because Giddy is the most terrifying of all creatures, and the witch's greatest and only natural enemy. Just then, Giddy emerges from the smoke to grab Lone, and with just one punch sends the witch flying. Lone can only wonder what this creature is, as she is defeated. Monster Giddy collapses, and Asif recovers normal Giddy's body. Afterwards, Asif is glad to see that the fire is getting under control, but Giddy is furious to have run into another dead end. Asif agrees that it's a shame since this method can undo the curse, but not forever. For a more permanent solution, they will have to find the one they are searching for. Back at the castle, we see that all the girls have their hands and feet again. Mary realizes that she misjudged the two emos, and thinks back to what Asif told her the night before. Their job is to bring witches back to the Order, and the Order tackles all manner of magic-related trouble. Their business with the city is over, so the two head home. Elsewhere, some guy offers to walk a girl home after they hear a strange noise. This girl don't need no man, so she walks home alone, but she does notice that there are quite a few crows just hanging out around there. No one seems to be following her when she checks behind her, but that's only because the person is in front of her. This thing takes her out in a seemingly painful way, but it determines that it wasn't enough, and it has to add more of something. Back with our heroes, they are called to a job for some crazy rich collector. A specimen from his collection has escaped, and it is incredibly violent. It has already claimed many victims, and Asif can tell by the way the guy talks about it that it's not just any old rare creature. He really hopes it's not a magical beast, but unfortunately it is. This thing looks like a giant platypus, but it's seriously powerful. Asif is told that they are supposed to recapture the giant beast quickly, and without harming it. Giddy isn't interested in fighting some boring beast, so she lets Asif handle the pet sitting duties. They are on the clock, so Asif has no choice but to handle it on his own. Asif tells some guy that matter manipulation is the most basic of spells, but controlling fluids requires a particular knack. Asif reveals that he has always struggled with it, but Giddy calls him a liar as he uses the magic to control a ball of water. Asif launches it at the Platysaurus, but it easily knocks it away. This thing comes after him, but he still has control over the water. He reforms the ball of water and uses it to begin suffocating the beast. Giddy couldn't be any more bored, and the guy who brought them there is shocked when Asif explains that the job is done. The rich collector expresses his relief since he hired the right person, and he explains that magical beasts are illegal in this country. He heard that Asif would take on any job, and he's glad to see that the info was correct. Asif corrects him, however, and explains that they only bother with jobs involving magic. He tells the guy to contact the Order of Magical Resonance if he needs anything else, and they leave. Afterwards, our duo treat themselves to a meal after a job well done, but Giddy has a bad attitude as always. Their past few jobs did involve magic, but they were the equivalent of petty crimes. Giddy is furious since this isn't the reason she joined the Order. She demands that Asif hurry up and find her a witch, as anything else is just a waste of time. Asif must explain to her that cases involving witches don't just grow on trees, and reminds her that their relationship is a give and take. In exchange for helping Giddy achieve her goal, she agreed to serve the Order however they see fit. They already get priority when witch cases pop up, so until then, Giddy has to do her job. If she doesn't behave, however, she can kiss any future witch cases goodbye. She agrees to do her job, but points out that Asif didn't even need her against Platzilla. Just then, the two receive a letter from the Order, and Asif must use his special Order ring to break the seal. Asif tells her that it's good news, and they head off onto their new job. Upon arriving at their destination, Giddy assumes that the first person they see is a witch, but the old lady's actually just their client. This lady wants Asif to open some little chest she has, and he notices a runic inscription underneath it. Luckily for her, he is an expert at undoing spells, so after that, the job is done. Giddy is furious as she thought a witch would be involved, but Asif never actually said that. He explains that him leaving his coffin behind should have been a dead giveaway, but she just demands to know what the good news was that he was talking about. Asif just wanted her to start taking non-witch cases more seriously, and tells her to take this little trick he pulled as a learning experience. Giddy of course doesn't want to hear all of this nonsense, but they don't have time to argue as their next job has already come in. Giddy will let it slide for now, but as soon as her curse is lifted and she doesn't need the Order anymore, she promises to end Asif's life. Ashraf wouldn't have it any other way and actually looks forward to that day. Sometime later, Ashraf reveals that they have had an entire month without encountering a witch. This makes it pretty clear that the day Giddy will be able to reclaim her real body is still a long way off. They get their next job, but Giddy assumes that it's just more boring busy work and tells Ashraf to just tear up the letter. That would be a big mistake, however, as this job is different since it came in a black envelope. The Order only sends these when a witch is involved and a big part of the case. This letter reveals that a witch is ending a lot of lives in a distant capital. If that wasn't bad enough, the crimes are described as being grotesque. They will have to travel across an ocean, so he tells Giddy to pack her bags. When he is alone, we see that Ashraf hid a part of the letter. It reveals that this job involves a witch and grimoire, so it definitely won't be easy. Ashraf seems really concerned, but Giddy couldn't be happier. A quick scene shows a burning building with some lady's children trapped inside, but the same lady named Miss Haynes wakes up from the nightmare. She is a police mage and has just arrived at the scene of a crime where the perpetrator just got away. The bodies left behind seem to have been mutilated, and Haynes points out that crazy life enders usually all have one thing in common: unfulfilled desires born from a sense of inferiority. Losing control of these feelings can turn even upstanding people into crazed civilians. The detective she is with wonders why she didn't finish setting up her wards, but Haynes explains that it wouldn't have made a difference. This witch that they are dealing with has the ability to slip right through them. The plan will be to box in the witch to make her cast as many spells as possible, or else they will never be able to figure out her magic. That will just be the first step in defeating her though, and the entire city's police force has to take this case slow and steady. A feeble police force can't fight a monster like this any other way. Haynes is the only mage that the city's police force has, but this case is unlike anything they have ever had to deal with. Witches are technically the responsibility of the Paladin Corps, so he recommends that Haynes talk to the mayor if she can't handle it. If things don't change from how they are now, then the body count will continue to rise. This detective tells her not to blame herself for something that happened to another detective, and she points out that she has handled plenty of horrific cases. People always remember the perpetrators and forget the victims in no time. However, someone ended the lives of people she cared about, and Haynes now realizes that she would never forget the names of either. Nearby, Giddy's upset that the witch just slipped right through their fingers, but Ashraf assures her that the witch will come back. Ashraf explains that this case is known as the witch's pastime. Grotesque mass end life committed by a witch, and as of last week, the victim's total is 36. Ashraf wonders what the body count is up to after today's attack, and Haynes hears him just like he wanted her to. Haynes can tell that they know who she is, so she wonders who they are. She wastes no time by quickly grilling them with questions, and wonders why they have a coffin with them. Haynes prepares a spell behind her back, but Ashraf can easily tell, and tells her to calm down as they are not enemies. They actually want to help her, and he reveals that he is from the Order. They go to a restaurant after Haynes confirmed with the mayor that he requested help from the Order. As they eat, Ashraf asks for all the details of the case, but Haynes wants to hear their story first. They have gotten the mayor's approval to help with the case, but she doesn't trust them yet. Ashraf points out that they are running out of time since the Paladin Corps will step in soon. The mayor is holding them back for some reason though, so Ashraf and Giddy are their only hope. Ashraf points out that the police forces are not equipped to handle witches, and what they need is an army. That is why global peacemakers like the Paladin Corps handle witches. It's pretty clear to him that the mayor is holding them back to claim the victory of solving the case without them. Haynes is in charge of the case since she is the city police's only mage, but Ashraf can't understand why she's going along with the mayor's stupid decision. Giddy has had enough of this boring conversation and demands that Haynes just tell them everything she knows about the witch. That way she can end the case by eliminating her. Haynes can't understand why Giddy's so obsessed with the witch and points out that most people would steer clear of a witch mass life ender. Ashraf interrupts Giddy to give Haynes some politically correct answer, but she tells him to stop. They agree to let her put up a soundproof ward to keep the conversation private, but she reveals that she created this ward herself, and it also allows her to tell when someone is lying. Our two heroes are impressed by this sneaky move, so they have no choice but to answer. Ashraf reveals that they are just trying to undo a curse. Giddy is under a witch's curse, so they are looking for the witch who cast it. They have basically nothing to go on, so their search is more or less at random. Giddy vows to get revenge, and this word triggers a memory inside of Haynes. Haynes realizes now that their motives are extremely personal, but she can trust them over great and noble causes. Haynes reveals that she was actually lying about her truth-detecting ward, which of course infuriates Giddy, and Haynes decides to accept their help. Their partnership will start the next morning, where they will meet back up at this restaurant. While this group of useless anime characters finish up their long boring conversation, we see that the witch is back at it again. She takes out another victim in a grotesque way and laughs like a lunatic. The next morning we learn that the criminal witch has been leaving messages. All the messages are sort of riddles, and one of their answers is witch. This makes it clear that the witch wants everyone to know that she is one. One of the answers to one of the riddles is human though, so the police have come to the conclusion that none of them really mean anything. The case is called the witch's pastime because the witch just seems to be playing a game. However, that game has come back to bite the witch, as Haynes has realized that some of the riddles were quotes from a book. They arrive at a bookshop that has just ordered the exact book. Ashraf is impressed with Haynes, but he is surprised when she explains that it was just luck, since she has a copy of the same book. Giddy calmly opens the door and has her two companions enter. Inside, they find a corpse, and its wound shows magical damage. Its eyes were gouged out, so they determine that it must have saw something. Ashraf can't understand why she would bother leaving messages if she's going to try to cover up her trail, but Haynes reminds him that it's all just a game to the witch. Ashraf thinks the tired-looking Haynes should get some rest, but she warns him not to get too close to her. Of course, this is a bit strange, but she explains that nothing good comes to those that get close to her. Just then, she is informed that another body has been found, along with a message. It reads, "I'm a disease. Disease propagates and spreads. This disease is called a curse, a witch's curse." That night, Haynes leaves after a disappointing day of investigating. Just then, Giddy tells Ashraf to get ready, as something has appeared. This is really bad timing though, as Ashraf left the coffin at their hotel. An explosion occurs, and Ashraf calls Giddy an idiot for just rushing in blindly. Some mystery person appears, and Giddy instantly attacks them, but she misses. The witch disappeared seemingly like smoke, so Ashraf can tell that she is not only powerful, but an escape artist as well. Ashraf wonders why this person appeared out of nowhere, and Giddy assumes that it was tailing Haynes. Ever since they met up with Haynes, Giddy has felt someone watching them. They surprise Haynes as she heads home, and explain that they had a little run-in with the witch. They of course lost her, so Haynes gives up all hope in them being useful. Ashraf stops her from helping Giddy, as he has already performed healing magic on her. Ashraf then shocks Haynes when he asks her what kind of connection she has with the witch. He points out that the witch has no clue who they are, so she must have been tailing Haynes. He goes on to explain that the witch announces herself through the messages in the hopes of drawing out the paladins. However, no matter how hard she tries, only the police oppose her. Giddy explains what she would do to bring out the paladins if she were the witch. She would eliminate all the small fry police or take out their boss. Despite all of that, the witch waited till their group split up and attacked Ashraf and Giddy instead of Haynes. Haynes becomes furious and wonders why the witch just won't attack her. Haynes realizes something in this very moment, and Giddy tells her to cough it up. Haynes begins her story of how the case started with the burning of her house. Her children were trapped inside, but there was nothing anyone could do. The culprit left a message on a wall across the street. It read, "I live on and on without change. I bear heir after heir without change." The answer to this riddle was clearly a witch. They arrived at the place left by the message and were greeted with a purple smoke. Haynes told everyone to get back, but the brave Ruben decided that he would take on the witch all on his own. This was crazy, but Ruben was determined to defeat the witch that took those kids' lives. His bravery only led to his head exploding, and Haynes couldn't bear to see more death. Ruben was her magic teacher and boyfriend, so in the end she lost him and her sons. Giddy and Ashraf being targeted makes it clear that the witch's goal that day was to lure Ruben away from her to eliminate him. For some reason, the witch is targeting people she cares about. The witch mistook them for friends and tried to wipe out our heroes. This culprit clearly has some kind of grudge against Haynes, but she says that it's perfect. If the witch is hung up on her, then she might get a shot at revenge. It's clear now why Haynes goes along with the mayor's wishes, and it's for revenge. Haynes concedes that she put her revenge ahead of the lives of citizens, and needless sacrifices keep racking up. Ashraf can't fault her for wanting revenge, but points out that she looks miserable chasing after it. She becomes upset because he is right, but she can't do anything else about the pain and hatred she has inside her. Giddy has heard enough and puts it simply, if someone wants revenge, then they should just do it. Giddy points out that Haynes wants to end the witch's life to get relief, and she explains that revenge feels great. Haynes doesn't think they are anything alike, and Asif wishes she wouldn't encourage her. Just then, they are told that the witch has left another message, which explains that she will be arriving at the station in 3 days. Haynes wonders if she can really trust these two to handle the witch, but Giddy assures her. They will take down the witch, and Giddy will show Haynes what makes revenge so sweet. 3 days later, Haynes explains that the witch's main spell is purple smoke. She can crush most things with it or send them flying. Her vanishing spell is also a concern. Haynes wonders what Asif did with some leather sacks she gave him, but he doesn't really answer. Haynes wonders if eliminating the witch might make everyone a little happier like Giddy said, and Asif is sure it will. Giddy gets upset since her stomach is now empty and the witch is late. Haynes would like to know how she plans to fight the witch, but Giddy just tells her to shut up and watch. She will undo the curse on her, and the witch will be nothing for her afterwards. Haynes is shocked that Giddy's depending on that, since there is no way to know if this was the witch that originally cursed her. Asif explains that there is another way to undo a curse, and that is what they are gambling on. If they face a witch and meet certain conditions, they will see the return of a monster even witches fear. Just then, the witch makes her appearance, but Asif tells Giddy not to jump the gun. The witch wastes no time by unleashing her fog, and a strange noise can be heard. Haynes warns everyone to be careful of the witch's old tricks, but no one even knows what's happening. Given how little they can see, Asif determines that they can't attack recklessly because they have allies. Their opponent, however, is completely free to cut loose. They are all in a really bad spot, and the witch starts wiping out cops. When the witch vanishes, Haynes explains that she can manage to stay alive as long as it's all she focuses on. Giddy is still alive as well, but she is upset since she wishes Asif would just let her take out the witch already. Asif points out that it won't do any good right now, since the witch has a way to escape easily. They need to corner the witch first, and Haynes explains that she has already made all the preparations he asked for. She hopes Asif has a plan for what comes next, and he surprises her by revealing that he has already found the witch. He points out how there have been a lot more crows appearing, and explains that those are his familiars. He can see everything they can, so the witch can't escape no matter where she goes. They all go to the witch's hideout, but the witch quickly takes out a poor cop. We get our first look at this person, and Giddy appears to get the jump on them. Giddy is attacked by someone else though, and Asif wishes Giddy wouldn't just rush ahead all the time. Giddy reveals that there were 2 of them, but most importantly, they aren't witches at all. The 2 strangers can't believe they are alive, and are annoyed when they realize that Asif is a mage. They aren't alone as Haynes is there as well, but she is shocked when she realizes that these 2 boys are her sons. They never wanted Haynes to find out, and she wonders what they are doing there. Haynes comes to the horrifying conclusion that her 2 boys were the witch, but refuses to believe it. She is certain that they don't have that kind of power. Asif points out that the books they are holding are the truth behind their power. It's the 2-volume grimoire called Sarnavasis. Grimoires provide power and perform spells for the wielder. No magical aptitude is even needed, and just holding one grants power almost on par with witches. They are a type of forbidden instrument, which are taboo tools of dark magic. Either part of a 2-volume grimoire can summon its other half instantly across space. It can only be done at a certain range, so Asif was able to locate them in next to no time. Haynes wonders where they got the grimoires from, and the boys point out that they got it from her desk. They blame her for them ending up this way, and explain that they don't like ending lives. These grimoires give them power, but they have to feed them lives. Even worse, the books will eat them if they don't give them sacrifices. Just touching the grimoires made them this way, so they had no other choice. Haynes is shocked, but their little story makes Giddy laugh. She explains that she saw some of the bodies of their victims, and she could tell that they loved every moment. Haynes comes to her senses as well, and asks them why they took Ruben's life when he loved them both. The boys refuse to give any more answers, since it's a fight to the death, but one of them is in bad shape. The confident Asif then reveals that there are 3 reasons why these guys have no chance against them. First is that they failed to pay their grimoire's price. The boys tell him that he is wrong, as they have already taken 10 lives today, but Asif shockingly shows them one of their supposed victims. He reveals that they were actually just dummies, a leather sack stuffed full of red liquid. They aren't good enough to withstand a close inspection, but the little fog they like to use made it impossible for them to notice. The boys are furious and point out that the grimoire gives them all the power they need to take more lives right now. Giddy easily avoids their measly attacks though, and she launches some rocks with so much force that it separates the books from their hands. Asif then reveals the second reason why they will lose. Even without undoing the curse, Ashraf and Giddy are still really strong. Giddy destroys these guys, and Ashraf points out that they didn't even need reason number 3. Afterwards, the guys explain that they have a seriously unhealthy love for their adoptive mother, and they didn't want anyone getting close to her. Giddy tells Haynes that she will take care of them if she won't end it, but Haynes has it taken care of. These guys thought that she loved them, to which she explains that she did. However, they cross the line in the worst way, so now she doesn't even pity them. Haynes clearly feels nothing now and takes them out. A quick look back shows the boys wondering why Haynes adopted them. Her answer was simple, as she wanted to show them what it felt like to be loved. Afterwards, Giddy is upset at Ashraf since he must have known that it wasn't really a witch. He explains that a man catches up quickly when he knows as many dark secrets as the Order does. On top of that, nothing would have kept the Paladin Corps out of a real witch case. Haynes arrives to thank them for their help, and Ashraf explains that he will be taking the grimoires. Haynes doesn't even recall ever seeing them, but Ashraf explains that forbidden instruments have wills of their own. They find the right person at the right time. Haynes points out that while the boys were never the most well-behaved, they never would have ended up that way if it wasn't for the grimoires. Ashraf offers some strange bit of comfort as he explains that the deaths they would have suffered for failing to pay the grimoires price would have been more horrible than anything. Haynes leaves, and Ashraf makes sure to tell her to let them know if a witch ever comes around. Thanks for watching my recap. Sign up to my free newsletter if you want to show some support to the channel. Link is in the description.